Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Card Blitz. I'm your host, Kelly Reed, joined by my good friend, Royce Waxenfelter of Viking Wax Press. Royce, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Well, man, let's just get into it, man. Let's talk cards. Let's talk about this whole NFL thing and whatever else is on your mind, man.
Well, Thanksgiving is on my mind. It's coming up in a couple days, and I'm excited for it. And I was looking at the past, since we're kind of going to talk a little bit of Cowboys for Thanksgiving and their my favorite team, the Vikings. They played a couple times in the Thanksgiving Day matchups, and my favorite one was '98, where Randy Moss went for rookie Randy Moss, three TDs in that Thanksgiving game, and they scored over. I think it was 46-38, high scoring game. Pretty awesome.
Well, speaking of right off the bat, man, you just went for the deep pass for a touchdown. Uh, one of the cards I was going to show off is one Randy Moss here.
There you go.
Look at
Love it.
that. It's a 1998 Bowman
Ooh,
rookie
beautiful.
card.
Yep.
Now, it's just a cool card to have in the collection, man. I mean, if you're a fan of the NFL and this man was legendary for so
Yeah.
many reasons, why not have a rookie card of his?
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I put him up right up there with Rice as one and two best receivers of all time.
Yeah, I just if Randy would have gotten a couple of Super Bowl trophies, that debate would be a little bit more
Yeah.
highly contested.
Good point. Yeah.
But I mean, he changed the game for his speed and then his vertical jumping prowess as well.
Yep. For sure.
Well, hey man, do you have some cards you want to show off?
I do, yeah. I kind of wanted to show. I started following the Vikings in '74. The Super Bowl between the Steelers and the Vikings was the first game I ever remember watching, and I've liked him ever since then. I was 5 years old, and so I kind of wanted to do just a Vikings card from each decade, if you got a minute,
Of course,
and
man.
just show you my favorite. Well, I have two favorite Vikings from the '70s: Alan Page and this guy. Um,
Oh,
Fran Tarkenton. Let me
Fran
see
the
if I
man,
can get a. There you go. Yeah.
the
And this is a
scramble.
75 tops card. So this is right after that Super Bowl. Pretty awesome. Awesome card. And then the most underrated receiver, in my opinion, of the 1980s was Anthony Carter. He came over to the Vikings after he played in the USFL. He went to two different championships in the USFL in '83 and then '85 for the Michigan Panthers and then for the '85 Invaders. So he had two championships under his belt. No, I'm sorry. He only won one of those. They lost to the Stars in '85, but he went to two championships before he was on the Vikings, and then he was on the Vikings for several years. In fact, he had against the Niners in the playoffs one year, he had an over 200-yard game that launched them above the Niners. And I think it was 88 or 89. So anyway, one of my all-time favorite underrated receivers for the Vikings, Anthony Carter. And then I've got a cool for the '90s. I've got this Chris Dolman card, and it's an artist rendering. It's a pro set card, so it's not worth anything, but it's a really cool look. I like the look of these artist rendering ones, and this is from the '91 pro set.
Do you know if does Dolman do much as far as like signing through the mail, like autographs?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because,
I'm not a
like a
big.
card like that with his graph, if
Oh
you
yeah,
put it
that'd be
right
cool.
there, underneath chin strap, maybe, dude, that would be a great card for your collection.
Yeah,
Like you said, you like the artwork, and then to have his autograph on it would be really cool.
that'd be a nice spot for it. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I haven't really got into autographs yet. I'm thinking about it, but haven't really taken those steps yet. So, have you found it easy to get autographs from
I
people?
personally haven't like even started down that journey either. I'm in
Yeah,
the I need to organize my collection phase of life because
yeah,
much like my office here, I mean I just got stuff everywhere, man, and it's gonna take me like 6 months straight of just organizing cards and then figuring out which ones would I want to send off. And the one though I did set aside is that Dan Fouts card because
nice.
from 76. So I'd
Yeah,
like to get his
thank you.
autograph on that because that's a cool looking card. And the memories of Dan Fouts, with college football and the Chargers in the like late 70s, early 80s. Huge impact on me as a kid.
Awesome. Go Ducks. Yeah, he's great. I agree. Fouts is great. One thing I just started doing for as far as organizing goes, I started logging all of my cards into trading card database. It's got a place where you can do that. It's a daunting task to just start it when you've got thousands of cards, but I want to get them all in there because once I'm done, then I can update it super easy when I get new cards. And then I'll have a go-to. Like if I'm on the in a card shop wondering what I have, I can just open up that app and know, what I've already got. So that's the goal ultimately.
Does Trading Card Database have an app?
No, I guess I mean just open
Just
up online and yeah, I
logging
wish
in.
they had
Okay.
an app. I
I was
looked at
like,
there's
man, if
so
they have
many
an
apps
app,
out
let me
there,
know.
but they all charge fees, so I didn't
Right.
honestly most of the apps out there are fee based or like become a member kind of thing and I don't never do that.
I hear you.
So speaking of Randy Moss, this is my Randy Moss card. It is an Upper Deck Ovation card from 2000. I believe 2000 or nope, 99. So this is after he'd been in the year one league. It's kind of cool. It's got you can feel the football bumps, you know what I mean?
On the
But
pigskin.
again, it was overproduced card, so it's not really worth a ton, but it was a great card. And then from the 2010 era Vikings, one of the best running backs of all time, Adrian Peterson,
Hmm.
great running back. And then from the modern era, I've got this Justin Jefferson on fire card. Or fired up, I guess. And this is a Panini. There's so many different Panini brands, though, that's it's hard to keep them all straight, but it's a pretty cool card.
My for
So
my son, he's his favorite receiver, I believe, is one Mr. Jefferson of the Vikings.
I believe it. Yeah, he's a favorite of a lot of younger. In fact, my grandson, that's his favorite guy too. So my grandson Jack, he likes him. But if he stays on track, he could rival Moss and Rice as far as yards, as long as stays on the trajectory that he's on. So
Right. Well, you
pretty
got to
cool.
get a decent helmsman to deliver said football so he can make them great catches.
Amen to that. Yes, I'm ready for it. I was talking with a friend today who was like, "So, do you wish you drafted Bo Nix instead of McCarthy?" And of course, yes, yes, I do, because he was a Duck, and I would have loved to have Nix on the Vikings. But oh well, I'm still giving McCarthy a shot. Let him round out. He hasn't even played more than 7 games, so let him play some
Right.
more.
Right. Based
Yeah,
on the body of evidence, he has a lot of room to grow. But,
sure,
obviously the Vikings would have, they took him thinking of the potential that he has. So let's see if he can fulfill that and blossom into a great quarterback.
absolutely. Yeah. So, do you have any cards?
Well, I showed you my Randy Moss card,
Yep.
and I'm sure I've got a few others once I start organizing stuff from the late 90s because, that's really kind of my wheelhouse of collecting. But I did, knowing that we're going to get to this like whole Cowboys Vikings theme thing. Um, Being a Cowboys fan, of course, I've got a ton of Cowboys. And so, the impact that this guy had
Oh yeah, love it.
on our both the
Huge on
organizations,
both teams. Yeah,
huge.
huge.
Now,
Yeah.
I always felt like Herschel, he got an unfair shake in Dallas as far as like supposed to be like the savior and take this team to the promised land. And, there wasn't a whole lot in the cupboard as far as the Cowboys in the late 80s. And so, once he went to Minnesota, do you remember that trade? And if so, do you remember if he produced for you guys?
Well, he didn't like they expected because they thought he was going to be the guy that could take him to the next step, and he really wasn't. They just didn't have enough. He ended up doing a lot of kick and punt returns after, like he didn't pan out at running back like they hoped. He did some. I mean, he played a lot, but they ended up not making it to the Super Bowl like they'd hoped. In fact, it kind of goes down as one of the worst trades ever in history because we gave up so much for him. And you guys got so many draft picks for him. So I think
Right,
you got
right.
seven
I
draft
mean,
picks, right?
obviously, franchises, we're gonna have our biases, but I
Yeah.
would agree that as far as the idea that Herschel Walker was going to be the man to take, whichever franchise he was with to the Super Bowl and get a win, that's a lot of pressure.
Oh
And
yeah.
he was a great running back, especially in the USFL, especially in
He
college.
had in
Just didn't pan out for
two
the NFL the way he thought it would.
Yeah, he had two 2,000 plus rushing yard years in the USFL, which is phenomenal. So,
Mm.
I mean, they played an 18 game season, but still over 2,000 yards rushing is nothing to scoff at any league. And that was a
Oh,
pretty big feat. So he definitely came on pretty strong out of Georgia. And he was a Heisman guy. So, but he didn't hit the NFL because they didn't take underclassmen, and he wanted to come out early. And USFL didn't have any rules to say otherwise, and the NFL at the time did. They said you had to have your senior year under your belt. So he went
well,
to the
was Herschel
USFL.
Walker the one that the Buccaneers would have taken if he would have came out early, or was that Bo Jackson?
I believe that was Bo. I don't know for sure. That's a good question. I don't know where Herschel would have gone to, frankly.
Mhm.
So good question.
Okay. Well, rounding out my Cowboys show and tell with you with early '90s. I've got this. I don't know if you're familiar with the Topps Black Gold cards.
I like those. Yeah.
But man, back in the early 90s and 93, this was a hot commodity. Troy Aikman in Dallas, coming off of the first Super Bowl and on his way to his second, and that being an insert, not easily obtained.
Yep.
That was a good $5 card back in the early 90s.
That's pretty awesome. And that's a good card. You can't really knock Aikman, man. He got him into the Super Bowl four times in the 90s. So that's pretty,
Yeah, you got him three.
or three.
The
Yeah.
49ers put the kibosh on one of those, but
Oh,
so there was
sheesh.
no four in a row for the Cowboys, but yeah,
Yeah.
three out of four.
That's pretty good. So speaking of black gold, and you're a Texas guy, there's a new Continental Football League coming out next summer called the Black Gold from Midland, Texas. They're calling them the High City Black Gold. Just a aside. So
And is that going to be
yeah.
like in the summer, or is that going to be like a spring
Yeah, it's
league?
going to be a summer league. Yeah, which is odd, but they're kind of filling in the gap, and they're doing it very differently. So they're bringing back the Continental Football League, which was alive in the 60s from 67 through 69. They're bringing it back, but they're going to do three of their quarters NFL rules, and then the last quarter, they're going to go CFL rules. So that way, anybody playing in that league can get experience for both and be scouted by either of those leagues. So it's very interesting.
So when you mentioned Continental Football League, is that the one that had I guess what was it Ken Stabler was supposed to be a part of that, and Coy Bacon and uh,
Otis Sistrunk.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's the one.
So they're bringing that back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's three Texas teams announced so far. So you might be able to catch a
Oh,
game.
living here in Dallas and in Texas, yes, I'm sure I'm going to hear about this
Yep.
Continental Football League, man. I'm excited, man. That'll be cool. Some summer football that matters, other than the camps. So that'll be cool to check out.
Yeah. I'm a big alt league guy. If it's an alternate league, I follow it. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, man, we
Um,
got to the USFL before and now the UFL. But let's talk a
yeah.
little NFL and let's talk about this rivalry between our two favorite franchises, the Vikings and the Cowboys.
Yeah. It's been interesting. It's kind of been back and forth because we got you on some big championship games, but the one I think that's the most famous in the 70s is the Hail Mary pass that Drew Pearson caught that Nate Wright, all the Vikings fans feel like he was pushed off the cornerback for the Vikings. Felt like it was offensive pass interference on the play for them to be able to catch that Hail Mary. So there's a lot of bitter people up in Minnesota about that game, but it was a big win because that got you to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
then it wasn't so good for the Cowboys in that Super Bowl either because I think the Steelers lined up across from them and they didn't get the win on that one and that one was heartbreaking as a kid for me. So
Mm,
I never liked the Steelers growing up and they're still not one of my favorite franchises. Them and the 49ers are the two that I'm just like, nah. One from the AFC, one from the NFC. So
yeah.
those are the two. I'm like, you guys can go fly a kite. I'm out.
The 49ers beat up the Vikings so much in the 90s, I got sick of them. I've kind of come around lately. I feel like this modern version of the 49ers kind of does things right. They've got good players, smart coaching. I can't really knock them for being a like dirty team or anything like that. They're pretty sound. So I'm
I'm just
kind of
saying the
coming around to the
franchise
Niners.
itself, like and my team, the Cowboys, might be the recipient of Vikings hate and Vikings disdain and Vikings disliking and saying, "Hey, Cowboys fans, go fly a kite. You guys can
Yeah,
go elsewhere." So,
honestly, I can pretty much say Cowboys are my least favorite team because I think of just the rivalry over the years. So I respect them. I love like Tom Landry and the Tony Dorsett years. Those are cool, cool teams. But boy, did I not! I just hated to go up against them because they seem to have our number a lot. So, but there were some playoff games where we got the best of them. So
oh,
that's
definitely,
good.
and that's what makes a rivalry great is that, if one team dominates, then it's not a rivalry. So you have to have some back and forth, and I think overall the record's like 19 and 15. So
Mm,
they're pretty evenly matched. It's just, perhaps in
yeah.
some of those championship games in the 70s, that was a difference maker between going to that Super Bowl and not.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big difference. Cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be a part of a rivalry like that. It's just like one person lands a uppercut and the other one just goes for the gut punch. So pretty fun stuff. But
Well,
I
then,
like I like
man,
the
getting into the 75 title game with the Hail Mary, I did bust out two cards regarding
oh good.
that you might find of interest. One is the recipient of said Hail Mary, and that would be this guy here,
Yeah,
Drew Pearson,
he
who
was awesome.
may may not have pushed off on a defensive back. That's up to the ref. And
Yep.
then the man who threw it to him, my childhood
Yeah.
idol, Roger the Dodger, man.
Yeah. Yep. That's an awesome card. I've got that one and it is one of my favorite of that set just because it's so iconic. That 75 set is my all-time favorite set. So I really dig that. That's probably if I had to pick a favorite Staubach card, that'd be the one.
The image in that card is similar to some of the other ones that he had from like 72, 73, 74. Might have all been in the same photo shoot,
Hmm.
back in the early
Yeah.
70s.
They tended to use them year after year. You're right. Yeah.
Definitely, man. So, how about you? Do you have any 75 Topps football cards you wanted to show off from that game, or you want to just kind of wax poetic on it? What do you think?
No, I mean the only one I brought like here for the camera was this um Tarkenton, but yeah, I guess for me it's I should have brought Nate Wright because he's the guy that may or may not have been pushed off on, but I do have a few of those. But
Well, the importance of that game with the term Hail Mary being used as common vernacular these days. I heard that Roger Staubach, apparently, as he had thrown it during that pass to Pearson, had said a Hail Mary, with that ball in the air. So I don't
there
know
you
if that's
go.
true or not. Just might be part of Dallas urban legend. But Hail Mary is something that we hear though, in every football game from grade school to the NFL. They're
Yeah.
all Hail Mary there.
And it would make sense. He's got a strong Catholic background, so totally makes sense. Yeah.
Could have happened, man.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, then let's get into
So,
one of your cards, one of your stories.
um, I think my favorite story, I started the program with it, was that three touchdown Moss Thanksgiving story for the Vikings against so yeah, this Randy Moss rookie year, three touchdowns, and nobody had really uh, caught on to his ability to get deep quick, and then as tall as he was, quite yet. So by Thanksgiving, that game kind of turned everybody's eyes on the fact that this guy was great. And it's just a cool thing to see and to know that that's kind of where Randy Moss got his fame started, was in that Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. So,
Well, I distinctly remember living in Taiwan at the time and catching the ESPN highlights. So when it's the game's going on over here, it's like 4 in the morning over there. So
hmm,
I remember waking up the next morning though, and wanted to see if the Cowboys had won, and they didn't, and it got handed to them. And then I just see these highlights over and over
Yeah.
and over, not once, twice, but thrice with Randy Moss going deep. And I think all
Yeah.
three of the passes that he was targeted for, he caught, and he got touchdowns out of them.
Yeah.
And apparently that was his revenge game on Jerry Jones.
Yeah. There you go for not drafting him. Yeah.
Exactly, man. He wanted to
Yep.
show it. He put one on.
Yeah. And he kind of showed the rest of the league too what he could do. So, but it's hard to stop. I mean, when you threw those things to the corner, nobody else could get it. He could leap up above everybody else and nab them, and he's also quick too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Randy Moss has speed. We know that.
yeah. Yep.
Well, man, I remember in 1983. I was 13 years old back then, and I didn't see the game live, but I do look back on it now, and I remember a certain running back for the Cowboys had a big game against the Vikings.
Dorsett?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
TD. Yep. He is pretty epic. He went to Pitt, and I have a lot of family from Pittsburgh, so
Hmm.
I have a ton of my family was rooting for him all during his career because he came from Pitt. So,
Well,
yeah, he
yeah.
was
What was
great.
he? The 1976 uh,
Heisman,
Heisman.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently, that 99-yard touchdown was like that. That's like immortalized him. In addition to like perhaps winning a Super Bowl and being a top 10 rusher for forever with total yards. But that 99-yard rushing TD is still the record, I believe.
Wow, that's awesome.
Only tied by King Henry.
Oh,
So
cool.
so yeah, that's it. So Derrick Henry,
Mhm.
like he's the only other one to do this as a running back, a 99-yard rushing
Wow,
touchdown.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, to me, when you talk Cowboys running backs, it's toward Dorsett's at the top of well, Emmitt Smith has the overall yards, but the guy I think of immediately is Dorsett. And maybe it's my age. That probably is my age, but uh, he's just a classy guy too. I think he was awesome. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he kind of let his performance on the field do the talking.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
So
man. Well, as they say, I'm serving it back to you. Do you want to get to another game or?
I don't have any other games I wanted to talk about. I did, if you're ready, let me know if you're ready to move on to the next topic, because I do have a little bit I wanted to just talk about the state of cards today, card collecting. So,
Okay.
but finish up if you've got more cards to show.
I guess I'll get into my last one here, which is the other running back for the
Oh,
whenever most folks think of Cowboys, and this is a 1993 Bowman card.
cool.
So I remember picking it up and just being enamored with like the border itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing
It's
how
cool.
simple a rainbow effect will capture the eye. But in
Yeah.
1993, his Emmett's game against um, the Vikings apparently was
Hmm.
on Thanksgiving Day, and he rushed for like 202 yards that game. And that
Gosh.
was kind of like the launching point for them to go to that second Super Bowl in a row, which, Aaron might not be so appreciative of. But,
No.
Emmett got the MVP of that Super Bowl, and he was the MVP of the year of the NFL that year, and he had missed the first two games of that season. So, that game was huge as far as showing his on-field determination and willingness to put the team on his back and try to get that win. It's
Hmm.
also the only game in his career where he had over 200 yards rushing was against
Wow,
the
really?
Vikings in '93. He only
Huh.
had one of them, and that was unfortunately against your team. But as a Cowboys fan, I'm loving it, man.
Yeah, and Bills fans don't like Emmitt Smith for that reason for that Super Bowl either. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm sure most Bills don't hold the Cowboys in high regard at all.
no.
Not once but twice with back-to-back Super
Yeah.
Bowls. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, man,
since
we
my
can get
brother's a
into
Bills
like.
fan, neither one of us like the Cowboys. So, yeah.
Well, stay classy and let's move on to the next topic because
Yes.
it's an exciting one. What do you want to get into, man?
So I just kind of wanted to talk about, uh, and we talked ahead of time, kind of the death of the base card that's happening now with all of the card breaks and the rip and packs and stuff like that. There's so many
Mhm.
videos out there now, and I follow several of them. just because they're out there, like tons of content providers, content creators are doing pack opening videos. And the more you watch them, the more you realize that they're breaking packs, ripping open packs, looking for basically one or two cards in the pack, and the rest are just set aside like they're garbage to me. Like they're even if I'm some of the newer Paninis have older players, legends like Anthony Munoz, Carl Eller, guys that are Hall of Famers, top of their game, some of the best in their position they've ever played, and they're putting them aside like they're worthless junk. And to me, it taints the card collecting um, value of who these players really are because they're looking for the big variant card that is worth a lot of money instead of actually caring about the players. So, just wanted to kind of pick your brain on how you feel about that. I do realize it's probably good for the hobby because people are watching it. So
Well,
it's
Royce, when you mentioned this, obviously you and I are pretty much the same age group. So,
yeah,
um, when we were kids growing up, though, and even as adults, we look at the person,
yeah,
the player. So,
right,
you collected the card because of that player, and this is my team. And ultimately, as as you mature and you figure out, oh, all these numbers on the backs of these cards, they're like,
yeah,
oh, what does this go for? Oh, it's for putting a set together. So uh, as a
yeah,
7, 8 year old, you probably that part doesn't click, but when it does, and you're like, oh, I need to organize these. You might organize
hmm
them by favorite player initially, and then by team, and then players you didn't like. You might have done whatever to the card, but
yeah,
then you understood. Oh, wait, I can trade, I can build sets. I think
yeah,
that in today's money-driven hobby, that the idea of collecting the card for just being happy that it's a cool card is out the window. And
yeah. Isn't that crazy?
it baffles me, Royce. I don't know. Obviously, we want what we invest in or spend our money on to maintain its value, but it's a hobby. So, if you were into like mountain biking and you buy a mountain bike and you go to sell the mountain bike after 5 years of use, you might not get the same value that you had initially purchased that mountain bike at. And so,
Hmm.
when does it go from a hobby to not a hobby?
Right.
And that, and you mentioned that, uh, people opening product and just looking for one or two cards per pack that might have resale value.
Yeah.
And even then it's like, well, why, what are you doing? Is that gambling? Are you just rolling the dice and hoping that your investment comes back? That's a great question. So,
Hmm.
um, how do you feel about this?
It's tough because I do think it gets more people involved in the hobby, but I fundamentally have an issue with not even caring about the players on the card. Because to me, that's my love of collecting cards comes down to that because I know football, I know the game, and I feel like these people, when they're doing that, they're devaluing the game, the fundamentals of the game. Even though they may be hunting for value, they're missing a big value in the actual players who they're tossing aside because that card isn't worth as much as the, orange numbered 1 of 10, whatever it is. They have so many. That's the other thing. Like you used to be able to say, hey, I'm going to collect all of the Alan Page cards, and you'd collect 20 of the base cards, and then there may be a couple police sets you need to get, and then maybe a couple Wonder Bread cards,
Hmm.
and then you'd have all of the Alan Pages. Now you'd literally have to collect hundreds and hundreds of one guy's card because there's so many variants, so many different companies that have put them out. Um, or, like Panini has at least 10 different branches or I don't know what to call them, but
Brands of
underneath
cards, right?
brands, yeah.
Yeah.
So you couldn't collect anybody's run. So it makes it impossible to me to really focus on a lot of the aspects of card collecting that I enjoy.
Well, I was going to mention on that note about the whole card collecting aspect and card shows. The first one is with my son last spring. Uh, this guy he gave my son just a ton of cards here from Topps Chrome.
Okay, cool.
And I'm thinking, oh, cool, X-Fractor, Refractor, base cards. And I'm not even a fan of this team out of Washington, formerly known as the Redskins. But the idea of like, hey, maybe someone else will see value. Maybe they're putting the set together. Maybe they collect certain players.
Hmm.
I can trade with them. I can send it their way and just go, dude, hey, have a great day. Enjoy the hobby. But this person was just giving out like grab bags of here's all the cards I don't want.
Wow, yeah.
And
That's
so that
crazy.
kind of baffled me. And then back in, I want to say it was back in September, Dallas Card Show. I was leaving it on a Sunday, and on a table I saw just a pile of cards
Hmm.
and an empty box and a bunch of wrappers. And I'm like, I didn't take them. I'm looking at these cards. I'm like, nobody wants these cards. There's nothing of
That's
value here. There's
crazy.
nothing of interest. Like, because one, they weren't my cards, and two,
Right.
no one around to ask, like, what are you doing with these? And
Yeah.
three, I was like, look, maybe they're better served going in the hands of a kid who wants to collect cards. So I left
Honestly,
them alone,
yes.
but I was wondering, like, who
Yeah.
who who does this, man? Like, who opens a box of cards, takes out their one or two hits, and
Yeah.
leaves the rest?
A lot of people are doing that. Honestly, it's very common now, and it's a little sad because I agree. There's probably some little kids out there who would love to have those cards in their hands.
Hmm.
Um, and it's too bad. But I mean, hopefully somebody did end up grabbing them. And like, I don't think it's bad to give away if they're not going to put any value in them, give them to young kids. I think that's a great idea. But if they're not doing that and they're just tossing them in a box to toss in the garbage someday, that's sad. So,
Well,
but it's
why? I mean, other than the dollars and cents, why do you think that base cards have become basically trash?
I overproducing the sheer number of different brands and varieties, I think has tainted it and ruined it to where it's made the basic card not important to everybody because they are choosing to select, I want only the super rare or the super like the downtown or whatever, the big one is that they're hunting for. Um, and those are cool cards. I got to say, some of those variants are really cool. But to not give any value to the base means that honestly, that's a huge chunk of what's being produced holds zero value. And that's just a bummer because then that's what does that mean for the future of the hobby if everything that's being put off the press, nobody's going to want. So
Hmm.
it's a little sad.
You make me wonder if like, you know, someone comes up to you with a base card of now that Topps is back in the game, a Topps football card, a base one of like JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson. Do you see the value in them and say, hey, I want these
Yeah.
cards because they're people that I like looking, I enjoy watching their performance on the field, or maybe I relate to them in some way. I'm a fan. Like would you toss those cards to the side? Any Vikings players?
No, I would, for me, any card is a good card, so I wouldn't toss anything aside. But especially if they're a Vikings player, I'm putting them in my Vikings collection because every Vikings card I get goes into my Vikings box, and I've got them alphabetized by name, and I know exactly who I've got and where I've got them. So
And
it's
those
just,
cards tell a story, right? In your collection,
yeah,
like, hey, this decade, that decade, I remember this team, this game, this year, this player did XYZ.
yeah. And even for the non-memorable years, like there were the years in the 90s that the Vikings were losing to the 49ers in the playoffs almost every time, but they still had like Chris Dolman, Gary Zimmerman, all these guys that are now in the Hall of Fame. So to ignore a big segment, like I know for me, Justin Jefferson's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. So his base card, I want that because he's a future Hall of Famer.
Hmm.
So regardless of whether it's a base card or not, I want it for his prowess on the field. I want it because he's a great player. So
Right, or perhaps a Robert Smith card from the 90s. That
yeah.
would be a cool one to have, especially if you're
Hmm.
an Ohio State fan And if you're not, still you're a Vikings fan and he played for your team. So
Yep.
yes, you're like, hey, I have memories with this, this guy in this card.
Robert
Um,
Smith was awesome. Yeah. Underrated. Like, I don't know if anybody under or over 20 knows Robert Smith, but they should, you know? So,
well, man, let's wrap it up with a quick Q&A with a little trivia. Let's
okay.
see if your Vikings mind is in tune with the history of this team.
Oh,
Are
okay.
you ready?
I guess so.
Okay, because it's again it's Cowboys Vikings here. So here we go. Which year is the first year that the Dallas Cowboys and Minnesota Vikings played against each other? Was
Wow,
it
that's a great
was
question.
was it A 1960, B 1961, C 1962, or D 1963?
I'm going to go 61 and assume that they played. Yeah, my gut tells me it's 61, although they weren't in the same. The Vikings back then were in the North, and the Cowboys were in the NFC South. So they wouldn't have necessarily played a double match, but I think they probably would have played in 61. That's my final answer.
1961.
Yeah. Am I
If you
right?
said 1961, you are like 12.1% of America, and you are correct.
Yes. All right. Good.
A lot of folks thought that when the Cowboys came into the league in 60, as did the Vikings, that they would have met up, but it was 1961. They played twice that season.
Okay.
The first was
Hmm.
in a preseason game in which the Cowboys won 38 to 13. And the
Hmm.
second matchup was in a regular season game at the end of September, and the Cowboys won 21 to 7.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
So,
Yeah.
little trivia with you, Royce.
That's really cool. I love it. That was good. I was glad I got it right because that was a tough question. That was a good, almost stumped me.
Dude, well, on that note, again, thank you for coming on board and talking Vikings, cards, collecting. I truly appreciate it. CardBlitz fans, if you don't mind, check out Viking Wax Press on YouTube and enjoy the content that Royce is producing.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I love your channel. It's always good stuff. So appreciate it.
Truly appreciate it and have a great night.
Thank you.